In 1980, Ed Farmer and Al Cowens were involved in a fight. And not the kind of fight we see today that's a lot of pushing, shoving, and, hold me back kind of thing. No, this was a true fight. Actually, I like the word brawl better. When guys are getting punched in the head, thrown into chokeholds, and end up in the hospital with internal bleeding afterwards, yeah, that's a brawl. But before we get into the actual fight, let me introduce the combatants. In one corner, we have Ed Farmer. Ed somehow built an 11-year MLB career with a net negative WAR. For most of his career, he was a middle reliever, but he did serve as the White Sox closer in 1980, where he earned an All-Star appearance. He has one of the oddest two-year stat lines ever, having an infinite ERA in 1977, leading to an ERA plus of 17. He followed that with an ERA plus in 1978 of an astronomical 4.79. Like I said, pretty odd. Obviously, that's cherry-picking just one stat, the ERA plus. In 77, he gave up one earned run and did not record an out for his infinite ERA. In 78, he pitched only 11 innings with one earned run, yielding his completely skewed ERA plus. But I'm not going to waste your time with numbers beyond this because neither Ed Farmer nor Al Cowens are worth breaking down statistically. If you're a White Sox fan, you probably know Ed more as a longtime voice of the team with nearly 30 years as a broadcaster. He grew up on the south side of Chicago where he attended St. Rita High School, where he was an excellent pitcher. He wound up forgoing college after being drafted by the Indians in 1967 and signed for $10,000. He struggled early in his career and bounced around from the Indians to the Tigers to the Yankees to the Phillies to the Brewers. Milwaukee would eventually outright release him. He had surgery for a bone spur in his arm and then found himself outside of baseball working in a warehouse. At the urging of his wife, he stayed in shape and landed a tryout with the Orioles. Before he could get to the tryout, he was hit by a car while riding his bike. Despite losing some teeth, he made the tryout and was offered a deal. That led to the infinite ERA of 1977. Baltimore released him. Ed would sign with the Brewers for 78 and the Rangers in 79, and here is where the story with Al Cowens begins. Now, Al Cowens was a right fielder with the Royals, Angels, Tigers, and Mariners. In 1979, he was playing with the Royals. Al had a 13-year career with an OPS plus of 99. Shockingly, he finished second in MVP voting in 1977, but that was an anomaly. I remember Al personally as a Tiger, but he was drafted by the Royals in, get this, the 75th round of 1969. At the end of his career, Al would work as a scout for the Royals, but he unfortunately died very young, just age 50 from a heart attack. But let's get to the meat of the story now. On May 8th, 1979, the Royals were in Arlington to face the Rangers. The Tuesday night game had Ed Farmer on the bump for Texas. In the first inning, Farmer struck Cowens out. Then, in his next at-bat, Cowens had an infield single. Then he stole second base, and this is where all the drama begins. While on second base, Pete Lecoq was at the plate. Cowens may or may not have been stealing signs and relaying them to Lecoq, who managed to draw a walk. Now, with men on first and second, Hal McRae came to the plate. And again, Cowens, at least in Ed Farmer's eyes, was potentially relaying signals. McRae also walked, loading the bases. Then Clint Hurdle came to the plate, and Farmer, now clearly rattled, walked Hurdle, scoring a run. Then in the top of the fifth, Farmer got Darrell Porter to fly out to center field. Cowens stepped into the box for his next at-bat, unaware of what was to come. Now, this part is up for debate. You can either believe in the public statement that the ball got away from him, or you can believe what many people think is true, that Farmer, clearly not happy about potential sign stealing, was going to let the Royals know about it. His very first pitch to Al Cowens was a four-seam fastball straight to the head. Cowens, who had been pitched on the outside corner all day, was leaning over the plate and took the pitch straight in the face, breaking his jaw and several teeth. It was reportedly a brutal sight, but no video of the game seems to exist. Cowens would be out for 3 weeks. That night, Ed Farmer visited Al Cowens in the hospital and offered an apology. But Cowens was having none of it. The Associated Press headline the next day was, "Hospital visit leaves Farmer feeling worse." And it details that Cowens, with his jaw wired shut, said, quote, "One of these days he, Farmer, is going to get his." Cowens would not forget. Fast forward now a year later to 1980. Farmer had been traded to the White Sox. Cowens went from Kansas City to the Angels to the Tigers. The Tigers were at Comiskey Park for the Friday night game between two middle-of-the-pack clubs, Dan Petrie facing off against Britt Burns. After 9 innings, the game was tied at 3. Petrie went 8 1/3, giving the ball to Aurelio Lopez, Senor Smoke. Britt Burns went 9 2/3 before passing the torch to Ed Farmer. Farmer got Alan Trammell to fly out to end the top of the 10th. The White Sox failed to score in the bottom of the inning, leading us to the dramatic 11th inning. Tigers right fielder Al Cowens stepped into the box and dug in. On the first pitch, he hit a routine ground ball to short. Farmer turned his back to the plate to watch the play, but Cowens didn't run to first. He didn't even try to run out the ground ball. Instead, he made a beeline directly for the mound. Farmer had no idea what was coming as Cowens clubbed him from behind. Clearly, Al didn't telegraph his plans to his teammates because the White Sox infield was on top of him before the Tigers could even get out of the dugout. The resulting brawl wasn't like your MLB fight today. This was a real legit street fight. Punches were being thrown, kicks were being swung, chokeholds and body blows were raining down like nothing we see today. Farmer quickly found himself on the bottom of a dog pile, and because of the weight of the pressure on top of him, a cyst on Farmer's kidney burst. When things finally settled, Cowens would get ejected, a 7-game suspension, and an actual warrant was out for his arrest. White Sox owner Bill Veeck pushed for Cowens to be charged with assault. Now, I don't know the legalities of this, how on-field confrontations are viewed in the eyes of the law, but Farmer did end up dropping the charges after Cowens maybe reluctantly apologized to him. So, I've thought about this incident quite a bit while researching it, and there are some interesting topics worthy of discussion, I think. Among the obvious, one, did Farmer actually throw at Cowens intentionally? Don't know. I mean, he apologized to him in the hospital, but was that because he felt guilty about the amount of damage done? I don't know. 2, does PitchCom take part of the game away? Catchers having to change up signs with a man on second and base runners trying to relay pitches has been a part of the game forever. And 3, where is the line between acceptable and unacceptable sign stealing? I still think the Astros should be penalized for what they did with the trash cans. And sorry, Jay, I know you're a huge Astros fan, but it's tainted my view of everyone that was a part of that club, including Brian McCann, who is pretty much a local legend here. And lastly, should on-field fights be criminally prosecuted? Nowhere else in life can you just walk up and punch somebody in the back of the head and not face some kind of legal repercussions from it. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to any of these questions. I just throw them out there for your thoughts. I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. And now, a word from our sponsor.
My broker says, in the long run, that kind of investment could be a good idea. What's your broker say?
Well, my broker is E.F. Hutton. And E.F. Hutton says,
when E.F. Hutton talks, people listen.
Now, back to our program. And finally, the next day on TV, Ed Farmer had a little edge to him when talking to Jimmy Pearsall. Pearsall, no stranger to a fight himself. Now, I want to make it clear, I am a Tigers fan, but I don't really have a side in this. I'm not defending Cowens at all. But some of the things Farmer says in this interview, I don't know, man. It rubs me the wrong way. He compared Al Cowens to a purse snatcher, a coward, and suggested that his buddies might want to seek revenge next time Detroit visits Chicago. He also made a joke about hitting Al in the face and helping him out the year before. Thanks for your time. Take care.
I heard someone say, "Look out," and I looked out of the corner of my eyes. I saw him just out of the corner of my left eye, and I just bent down a little bit, and he went over. He grabbed me. He stuck his finger in my nose, and he scratched my nose right here. I mean,
he's a bugger snatcher. That's what
I guess, you know,
it really surprised you. It was something.
Oh, sure.
I imagine you have expected him to do something sooner or later, whether covering first base on a bunt or something along these lines, because when you hit him in Texas, and I got to believe this too in my heart, that it's awfully hard for a pitcher to deliberately hit somebody on the head or face because it's the easiest place to get out of the way.
The only spot that you can hit somebody is in the back or in the rib cage. For somebody to get hit in the face or in the head, they've got to be looking for a ball in a certain area, which is not inside. That ball was inside, and it wasn't really that far inside. He got hit.
Right on top of the plate,
He's up on top of the plate like most of the Kansas City hitters, and he goes into the ball. He went into the ball all right, but he went in, instead of with his bat, he went in with his face, so he got a broken jaw out of it. Last night, a nail in his own coffin.
Well, you know, let me ask you this now. Had he been hollering at you from the bench, or had you faced him before last night anywhere else?
No, see, that would show some kind of guts. Mr. Cowens has no guts. To me, he's gutless. I ran by him in Detroit a few times, and he didn't say a word to me. Then he snuck up behind me. They better check the Detroit Police Department better keep an eye on him. He may be snatching purses today in downtown Detroit out of a dark alley somewhere.
We'll be right back with Ed Farmer right after this message. Ed, I don't understand the suspension of 7 days. Usually, the president of the league has to look at pictures. He has to get the report for the umpires. I don't know whether he was protecting this young man to get him out of town before he got himself in a whale of trouble. I know when I was in a fight in the stands in Baltimore, they took me to jail, and then they wound up going to court. That took 4 days, and finally the judge fined the guy $750 and said he had no right calling my mother names or anybody of that nature. But just think what would have happened if they had put me in jail for 5 or 10 days.
Well, you know, I grew up here on the South Side, and I have a lot of friends here on the South Side that come down to the games. I mean, I think that Lee McPhail and
he's a bookkeeper, you know.
And Mr. Cowens is concerned. He did the right thing, because I'm sure some of my friends were out here today at the ballpark, and the next time they come into town, I'll have no control over them. I don't know what they're going to do to them, but the fans here, they back me 100%, and I love them for that. And I don't know what's going to happen to Al Cowens.
It's usually when there's a fight on the field, the next day it's over, unless it's really something awfully bad. But generally there's a fight. How many times have you had a hitter come to the mound after you, or going to, if you have a few punches swung, it's all over the next day?
Jimmy, I'm 6'5". For somebody to come to the mound, and I've taken some self-defense classes. I was coming back from arm surgery. I had to work out with a boxer, and for someone to come to the mound, it's against a guy 6'5". He's got to have his head examined. So that's the first guy that's ever.
What are you looking at me for? I'm not going to the mound.
That's the first guy that's ever come out, and that's the first guy that's ever come out behind me.
Now, right now, you feel pretty good, though. You're not really bitter about anything right at the moment, but if you see the guy again, then there could be trouble.
Well, I can't say that. You know, I've got to come out and do my job. Naturally, I'm going to tell him something when I see him the next time in Detroit.
He could have ruined a good year for you, couldn't he?
Yeah, he could have ruined a good year. I thought I gave him a good year. I gave him a little rest there from May 8th till June 10th. He was out 2 months. He finished. He's off AstroTurf now, and he's hit 50.
You know, one thing about baseball and the players on your ball club, it just seems like when something like this happens, it looked to me like there was 4 or 5 guys out there right away. Were they trying to climb on top of this guy, or were they trying to get him off? What were they doing?
Well, see, what happened was he came over my shoulders, and as I was going down, I spun over, and I was laying on top of him. These guys my teammates came out, and they just pummeled him. 2 or 3 guys just nailed him. He was over sitting on the bench. He was waiting. You know, that's about his style. He was over there sitting on the bench, just taking it easy. You know, he's protecting his average. It's 2.5. You've got to do those things.
Well, you and Durant had a good night. Of course, you didn't get as tired as he did, but by the looks of things, you may win. Are you going to sue this guy or what?
Well, we're going to California, my family and I, tomorrow night, and I just ended a lawsuit against an individual that hit me in an automobile, and I didn't think that I'd be talking to my attorney quite this
You got him on retainer?
quickly. Yeah, he'll be on retainer starting Monday.
Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, tomorrow we play at 12:30. Harry's On Deck show is 12:15, a doubleheader of these same two ball clubs. So if you get a chance, come on out and watch them. I'm Jimmy Pearsall saying thanks for watching.
I don't know why he like hunts him down like that. Why do you do that, bud?
All right, Chuck.
Get him, Chuck.
Doug's gonna kick your butt.
He's never been in a fight in his life. Get out of there. Come on.
All right, walk like a normal. Wait. Wait for Doug. Come on.
Come on, Doug. Oh, no.
God.
Oh, no.